Good morning, Mayor Branco. We are live.
Good morning. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes.
Can you
Yes,
hear me
we
loud
can
and
hear you.
clear? Thank you. Are we ready to go?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome all of you to the May the 12th council meeting today. And I'd like to call to order at 9:06. And before I start, I have a letter I'd like to read to council. It is from CAMA. And it says, Dear Mayor Bronco, a long service recognition award program of the Canadian Association of Municipal Administration, CAMA, is dedicated to honoring and celebrating the dedications of our members to the public service and municipal management, a cornerstone of priority for our association. These awards are based on the duration of a full-time paid employment in municipal government, specifically in the management roles such as chief administration of those reporting directly to them. Recognition is granted at the 10-year mark and subsequently in 5-year intervals. This year is our privilege to acknowledge the commitment of your city manager, Sue Howard, for her remarkable 10 years of service in municipal government management roles. Sue's dedication to her role and has undoubtedly contributed to the advancement of your municipality. We are pleased to recognize her achievement. Her certificate has been mailed to her directly. I invite all of us to clap our hands to thank Sue for all her commitment and that she's done for our community. So Sue, thank you very much. In doing so, we will move on to open microphone. Do we have 2 people, I believe?
Mr. Mayor, we have 2 people for the public hearing.
Okay, public hearing. Okay, not open mic. Thank you. Is there any consent to the agenda, any movement? Councillor Billingsley.
Thank you. I would like to pull 9.2 item of the Manluk Spray Park and Playground.
Thank you. Councillor Nielsen.
Yes, and I'd like to pull 9.4, the manager's monthly report to council.
Thank you.
Also, Mr. Mayor, if I may,
Yes.
I'd like to add an item to, is that appropriate at this point? I'd like to add an item to new business, please. Containment of garbage containers.
I'll be 15.1, if that's okay.
Yes, thank you.
Any further? If not, I'll have approval of the agenda as amended.
Chair.
Mr. Nielsen?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. All those in favor? Thank you. Adoption of the minutes? Any corrections or additions? Councillor Hoyle.
I move that council approves the May 12th, 2026 regular council meeting agenda as presented.
Thank you. I guess we move into public hearing.
Mr. Mayor, consent
Go ahead.
agenda must still be approved.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. All of those in favor of accepting the consent agenda as amended? All those in favor? As approved, I'm sorry.
Mayor Branco,
Yes, please.
I move that council approves the consent agenda as amended.
Thank you. All of those in favor? Carried, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, I apologize. Councillor Hoyle did move the meeting minute, so that motion must be voted on.
Okay, I thought we did that. Adoption of the minutes. All of those in favor? Carried, thank you. Public hearings. We have 2 people. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, you would have received an email with the public hearing script.
Yes, I did. Yes, I have it here. Bylaw 2106-26. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you. Go ahead, Emily.
Mr. Mayor, I believe you opened the public hearing formally.
Yes, I did. Do you need a motion to open a public hearing?
Mr. Mayor, we just need a statement from you saying that you are opening the public hearing.
Okay, thank you. I've read 7.1, a motion to open a public hearing. All those in favor?
Mr. Mayor, not a motion, just a statement saying that the public hearing is open.
Yes, there is. The public hearing is open. Thank you.
Okay, the purpose of this hearing is to receive public input on Bylaw 2106-26 to amend the land use bylaw with minor amendments. Notice of this public hearing was advertised on the city's website as of April 21st, 2026, as per the requirement from the Municipal Government Act, Section 606, and the city's advertising bylaw. In addition, it was circulated on social media beginning April 21st, 2026, and advertised in the Pipestone Flyer on April 30th and May 7th. Administration is recommending that the land use bylaw be amended with minor amendments in 3 areas. First, to update a reference to appeal timelines for consistency with the Municipal Government Act. Second, to allow and set out a regulatory framework for moved-on buildings. And third, to clarify development security provisions. A full report was provided at first reading at the April 14th regular council meeting and will again be provided later in today's meeting. We have not received any written submissions in this matter.
Any questions? Not, I'll declare this
Sorry,
public hearing.
Mr. Mayor, you need to ask for anybody that wishes to speak on the matter.
I just did. Any of those who like to speak on this matter? Anyone else wishing to speak to this matter?
Mr. Mayor, there is someone coming forward.
Thank you.
Yeah, oh, you're definitely going to have to pull me up on this one. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Okay. I just want to add a little bit to having this bylaw amended. Over the years, there have been homes brought in and put on basements in Wetaskiwin. Also, there have been modulars brought in. And I think it would definitely help our economy with putting dollars towards the taxes. Right now, there's probably about 10, maybe 15 vacant infill lots, as we call them, where there had been existing houses or never been built on. Right now, the city's collecting approximately $850 per lot. Once a modular or a home brought in off another property put on, the city would be collecting between $3,100 to $3,500 a year off of that. And it's not going to be like there's going to be a fluctuation of a lot of people running out trying to find homes. There's definitely rules and stipulations can be put on there. There's one on 45th Avenue, Airport Road. I would challenge anybody to pick out which house was brought in and put on a basement. There's one on 51st Avenue, a modular. On 47th Avenue, there's a modular. There's also a duplex that was brought in and put on a basement on 56th Avenue. And again, all vacant lots. On the high side, these homes average sell in the area of about $381,000 when they have a garage put on. Low range, 175, average about $278,000, and mid-range, $289,000. So again, they'll definitely help. And with the shortage we have of homes here, and so I guess that's basically, I did give Emily some pictures of items that, or homes that were put on. The one that my client is looking at doing is this one here, as you can see. There's hundreds of them like this in town, and I know he'll do a very good job. It's Ace Construction, or ACT. And yeah, I just think it'd be a great thing. And just to differentiate, modular, manufactured home is a trailer. Modular is a home, okay? Just to differ. So that's all I have to add. I think it would be a good benefit. Thank you. Okay, young man, you're gonna have to really pull, because don't just grab. Thank you.
Anyone else want to speak to the public hearing bylaw? Anyone else want to speak? If not, I will close this meeting. Declare the public hearing bylaw 2106-26 closed at 9:18. All of those in favor? Or do we have to vote on it?
Just
Do
a
we vote
statement
on-
is needed.
Thank you. I believe I made the statement that we close the public hearing bylaw at 9:18. Thank you. Okay. Delegations, do we have any? None? Committee of the Whole. Item 9.1.
Mr. Mayor, 9.1 was approved on consent. 9.2 is now next on the agenda.
Thank you. 9.2. I have to remove myself for this one, please, because I do have a conflict of interest. I am working on that project. Thank you.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. My name is Zanette Frost, and I am the manager of the Recreation Services Department. I'm here this morning with Chelsea Wood and Jessica Maud to present a report on the Manluk Spray Park and Playground project. They will be coming up after I finish my portion of the report. This project is a powerful example of what can happen when a municipality works alongside dedicated community members to create a space for residents to gather. As noted in the report, the city's contribution included the parcel of land adjacent to the Manluk Aquatic and Fitness Center, fundraising support in terms of being a location to donate, systems such as ActiveNet to record those donations, and the ability to use a bank account that was formerly going to be closed. Last year, on April 14th, 2025, Council decided to contribute $500,000 to the project to ensure the vision of an accessible playground and the spray park to come to fruition. This contribution was key and fully spent on various aspects of the project. Administration has been involved since the beginning, with the Recreation Department being the primary point of contact and assisting with the navigation to many of the other departments that have been essential in getting this project across the finish line. Now that the construction of the main elements is complete, we have a few items that we ran out of time to complete last year, such as the concrete for the gazebos, the benches, and picnic tables. And we have plans to finish that this spring. Administration has assumed the ongoing operation and inspection and maintenance of this community asset. There are 3 things that made this project successful, and I would best summarize it as follows: time, talent, and treasure. In that light, I would like to thank the many community donors that financially committed their resources, for that time that the committee generously and wholeheartedly committed, and for everyone that used their skills and their talents to bring this vision to life. Administration is grateful for this level of commitment to the project, and more importantly, their community. It is a demonstration that when we work together, our community achieves more. Now I will turn it over to Chelsea and Jessica to present their portion of this final report.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. We are here to present. There might have been a little bit of a miscommunication, but we do have a little bit of a presentation to make, but we are willing to come back and answer any questions that we might have after the entire project is done. But we wanted to give you a little bit of a rundown of project. If we move just to the next slide, just a quick overview for those of you that were not involved from the beginning of the project. This project began in the fall of 2023. There was a group of moms that came together that wanted to see this project happen, and we formulated a committee and came to council at that time asking for permission to start to research on the project and see if the city was behind that. And so that's when the project began. We made some efforts to engage in social media, and then January of 2024 is when we really started to engage in community outreach. We hosted a series of roundtable events and also attended some different community events to get feedback from community members. And that's when we really started to gain some momentum on the project. March of 2024 is when we officially kicked off our fundraising. We wanted to fund the project primarily through 4 avenues, so fundraising, sponsors, grants. My mind is failing me, but anyways, we made those efforts. So we did a lot of grant writing right from the beginning, and we spoke with companies at that time to get our tender, and really at the beginning of the project, it was primarily research. So we talked with lots of communities that had spray parks, made sure we had a really great understanding of what that looked like, what the costs were going forward, what the capital expenses were, made sure that we were fully informed moving forward. And then at that time as well, we did have our city participation. So we had this amazing support from the city that we were able to move forward with the project and really get some momentum. It took us a full year of fundraising before we really had enough to commit to the project, and that was really in large part due to the city coming in, stepping in, and supporting the project from the get-go. And just as a quick rundown, I mean, as you've probably all seen, it's not too far away, but everything was installed last summer, and we will be commissioning the spray park this summer. We do have some final touches that are being completed in the next few weeks. And that is kind of a quick synopsis, so we can kind of move to the next slide there.
This is just a summary in terms of the fundraising that our committee was able to work on and achieve. The first avenue in terms of fundraising was grants. We were successful in getting a federal grant. I know we reported on that to council previously, and that was a huge boost to our fundraising. We were able to get a Cal Tire grant to do some of the rubber surfacing, which is a really nice feature in that park. I really appreciate it. And it's far more accessible and mobility friendly as well. So we were able to get $20,000 towards that. We also have the sponsorships and general donations of $465,000 and change, which is phenomenal. And that is made up of different private donors, fundraisers. We were able to do our title sponsor, Manluk Industries, and various other avenues. AGLC fundraisers that we were able to do and donations from service groups locally fall into that category, and that's about $38,850. And then we do have some pending donations. Now, the 671 figure that you see in this presentation is not accurate. I hadn't updated it after another donation had come in, so the next slide is actually a little bit closer to the number. So that 674 and change is probably closer. And we are still waiting for a little bit to come in that has been committed to the project. The commitment from the City of Wetaskiwin boosted our budget hugely, and I just want to thank the previous mayor and council for supporting that project and for giving us that financial commitment, because that was a massive boost. It was the difference in being able to do the playground and the spray park all in one go, and I'm sure that you've seen just how phenomenal the community response has been to that space so far. Even though the spray park isn't open yet, that park is busy, and I think it's awesome. It's really exciting. So total funds available right around that 1.1, close to $1.2 million mark for the funds that were available to complete the project. This is an overview of the expenses thus far. I won't go into everything. There was some signage to begin with. There was a fundraiser that we did. There were some small outlays for that. The biggest expenses obviously have been Canadian Recreation Solutions for the playground equipment and installation, and PlayQuest, who did the spray park. We did the line locate. The line installation was a large expense as well. There were obviously some issues in terms of the old pool being a little closer to the surface, and so there was some extra expenses that were required there that were not anticipated. And then there was also an incident where I believe during the line installation, a fiber optic cable was accidentally, even though we'd done the locate and did all of our due diligence there, these things happen because construction. And so there was an additional expense for replacing that fiber optic, and then the Manluk Center made the decision to install Starlink and purchase some equipment to get them through those couple of days where they did not have internet to run their operations. So that was added into the project budget. We had a small security cost just to have someone surveying, like monitoring the site while the copper was exposed before all the concrete got done. We have some benches, tables, and garbage cans on order, which is great. That's going to be huge in terms of completing that space and making it just a little bit more user-friendly. And then we still have a holdback that will be payable to PlayQuest once we're able to commission and make sure that everything is working properly. So that brings our budget to just shy of $1.1 million. And yeah, so that's basically the entire budget. There is likely to be some more moving parts, shall we say, going forward as things are completed. So we expect to spend the entire amount of the budget.
As you may have seen, there are a few finishing touches that are being worked on right now. So our current mayor, Joe Branco, is completing the concrete for us. He's donating a large portion of that, which is highly appreciated. We have the co-op donating a large gazebo, which the picnic tables will be going under, and the city has committed to finishing the sod and fencing. Manluk Industries is going to help provide the signage. So all of those things are going to be completed in the next coming weeks. We do have our commissioning, which would include our training of city staff. That will be completed as well. And then we are going to be painting the surface of the spray park. And I do feel like that is one thing that may get done in the fall, but we are looking at getting that done before the opening if possible. That is a larger capital expense. and that will have to be maintained through the years, so that would come back on the city as well. Just to the next slide. So as we wrap up, we do have our grand opening that we would like to have on July 1st from 2 to 4. Obviously, everybody would be invited to that. If we are able to, we would like to do a ribbon cutting earlier when the park is commissioned and turned on. So that information will be relayed to council at that time. But if that's not able to get done earlier, we will do all of those on the same day. Yeah, I think it'll be a lovely afternoon in the park. There'll be provided food and activities and different things that our committee will be taking care of. So that is essentially the project coming full circle. And then the spray park will be running for this summer. So we are pretty proud of our committee, very appreciative of all of the community support. It has been phenomenal. We've had so many people reach out. Every school in town almost has had their children in the schools raising money for the project. Had lots of parent support, lots of business support, and we've just really seen a community come together and really make something happen that was not easy and a very quick timeline all considered. So that's essentially all that we have for you today. We are open for questions or any feedback.
Yeah, correct. Thank you. I move that City Council receive the Manluk Spray Park and Playground report as information. And I do have some comments and some questions to administration. First of all, I'd like to give some thank yous. And the first thank you is going to be to administration and staff of helping see this through. The second thank you is to the community, all the people and the businesses that donated to such project. And most importantly, I'd like to thank the committee. You're spearheading this, volunteering this. Without your hard work, this wouldn't have happened. So I just want to say thank you. It's an absolute... And even though the spray park isn't operational yet, the playground certainly is and is being used. And fantastic job, so thank you very much. My questions, though, are going to be to administration. And it has to do with calling this a final report. I'm quite concerned about that in the sense of there's nothing there that helps me understand the challenges, the recommendation, the wins, the losses. There was no financial information from the city's point of view. The committee certainly did, but I have nothing to call this a final report. I have no idea what expenses, what costs were involved. There's many things that I would like to see into this, and I really struggle to call this a final report when there's really nothing here that gives us the information that I need to know if this was well handled from our end. And if going forward and something like this happens again, I will know what worked and know what didn't work. And I don't have any of that information in this report. So I'm going to call it, as I said in my motion, a report as opposed to a final report. And I'm looking for support within my colleagues to send this back to get more information so that we have something to be able to say that, yes, as far as the city goes, this was a success. As far as the organization, it was a huge success, and thank you. I don't want you to think that this has anything to do with any of the work you do. I need more information, so.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Nielsen. Through the chair to council, first, I agree. I would like to see a report that helps us understand where the city's side of it, just that little SWOT analysis, basically, as Councillor Billingsley put forth. So I agree this is a report, not the final report, please. To the committee, I have said many times how appreciative and all of those things, so I'm not going to repeat that part, but I'm going to repeat the part about the playground. Because I know when I sat in that first, one of your round tables, the playground was actually what I was excited about. As a person with no children who is never going to visit a spray park that is, you know, those kinds of things. It wasn't that I didn't want the spray park part, but when you started talking about this accessibility and that had come from communication with the community, right? You had gone out to the community, you'd started to get information. These were things that they really wanted, and you took that information of engagement and really did create something that's 12 months a year, right? That everybody can use, and I could not be more proud of the group of you. So thank you very much.
I would also like to thank the committee. Spray Park has been a vision of this city for many, many, many years, and to see it actually come to be in this city and in such a short amount of time. We had a meeting at the Manluk Center, and it was fabulous just to see the amount of children and families at that playground that day. Secondly, I echo Councillor Billingsley. I had several questions under the organizational portion of the report, as in ours. All those answers, I think, should come in the final report. So I had them as questions, but if we take this as a report and not a final report, I'm hoping those questions will be answered. But I do thank the committee and the community as a whole, because that's what it takes to bring this to fruition. Thank you.
Yes. I will put that, I'll move that to new business, because I want to have a little bit of conversation with administration as far as timelines, and thank you.
Thank you very much for your update on the spray park. We will move now into 9.3.
Mr. Mayor, 9.3 was approved on consent agenda.
Thank you. 9.4. Is that? Yes, Mr. Nielsen has a question on 9.4. Sue Howard, but anyways, we will listen to the report on City Manager's monthly report.
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to get Jackie to present on that, since I was not the one that developed the process, although I am here to answer any questions I might be able to.
Thank you.
Good morning, City Council. For those watching online, my name is Jacqueline Pelishedic. I'm the General Manager of Corporate Services, and I am speaking to this report today as I worked with the Deputy City Manager while the City Manager was away. So the report does provide an update on various administrative activities for the period March 1st to March 31st. And within this report, we have included a slightly more built-out reporting process for capital and operating projects. And I'd be happy to take any questions from council.
Can I get a movement, please? Counselor Nielsen, I can't hear you. Is your microphone on?
It is now, sir.
Thank you. Can I have a motion?
So moved, Mr. Mayor, to accept it.
Thank you. Any question? Counselor Nielsen, you do have a question.
No, I do not. I just simply wanted the report. I've read it. I thought there'd be more to it in terms of information to the community, but that's fine at this point in time. Thank you.
Thank you. I do have a question to Sue. Looking at your chart there, facilities got more, how would you say, tickets than the road. Is that right? We always concern about our road. And I'm looking at tickets per category. The facility got 36 and road got 10. Is that correct?
Mr. Mayor, you're speaking to the report of concern statistics, is that correct?
Yes. Yes,
may-
it is correct.
Yeah, I may push that question to Chris Bond. He's our manager of fleet and facilities, and he is here today for Ryan Anders. He may be able to speak more to those stats.
Thank you.
Good morning. For the record, Chris Bond, manager of fleet and facilities. Although I can't speak to the roads, I'm not familiar with the data. I can speak to the facilities data. It is accurate. Typically, we see about a third between roads, waste, recycling, parks. We'll see about 1/3 of the service calls for facilities. With that, so just a quick blush of the numbers, it does look accurate, although the roads does look a little bit low.
Thank you. All of those. Councillor Hoyle.
I do have a question, and this may be somewhere and I've just missed it. When, through the chair to administration, when can we expect to see the corporate business plan? It was referenced, but I don't see a date or the corporate business plan.
Through the chair to Councillor Hoyle, originally we were going to bring the corporate business plan back to the May 26th meeting. However, administration is still trying to put some final touches on it, and so it may end up coming back in June, but we do anticipate it will be coming back fairly soon.
And one more, may I? Thank you. There was an estimate for population. Outside of a census, how do we estimate population?
Through the chair to Councillor Hoyle, so we do rely on some other statistics. The province puts out an estimate. They have a fairly complex formula that I'm not an expert at, but they do provide usually annual updates on what they estimate our population to be. We can also rely on the federal census as well. There's currently a federal census being conducted, so we have a few different avenues to estimate what our population is.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Any further questions? Councillor White.
Through the chair to administration, comment, not question. I appreciate the first crack at a capital project report. I anticipate learning more about how this was put together and what we can, information that's pertinent to absorb as a councillor for it. But I recognize that it was requested and has been given to us for the first time. Thank you.
Any further questions? If none, I'll ask for a motion to accept this as information. All of those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Item number 10.1, staff reporting for decision. Regular council meeting schedule, I'm sorry.
Good morning, Council. Again, this is Jacqueline Pelishedic, General Manager of Corporate Services, for those who are watching online. At the October organizational meeting, City Council did approve a council schedule. There were various options in front of council, and council opted to choose moving to Tuesday meetings. Now, administration did find a slight scheduling error that occurred between moving from a Monday to Tuesday meeting, and so we're bringing it before council to rectify that. So in September, the meeting dates that were approved were September 15th and 29th. Those are in fact the 3rd and 5th Tuesdays of that month. And this diverges from council's normal schedule, which is the 2nd and 4th Tuesday of every month. Council may wish to approve this motion to ensure consistency. However, if council chooses to do nothing, these dates have already been advertised, and we would proceed with the schedule as approved in October.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Councillor Billingsley.
Thank you. I move that City Council amends the 2025-2026 regular City Council meeting schedules as approved by motion 413-25 by revising the September 2026 regular council meeting dates from September 15th and September 29th, 2026 to September 8th and September 22nd, 2026.
Any questions? If not, I'll ask for a vote for a recommendation on option number 2 for dates in September of council meetings. All of those in favor? Carried, thank you. Item 10.2, lead capital replacement.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. For the record, my name is Chris Bond, the Manager of Fleet and Facilities. Today I'm seeking Council's consideration and approval. Thank you. Today I'm seeking Council's consideration and approval of the Phase 1 2026 Fleet Capital Replacement Program. The 2026 Fleet Capital Replacement Program, Phase 1, as outlined in the attached Capital Project Charter, represents the initial implementation of a structured, life-cycle-based approach to fleet management. The city's fleet has experienced a prolonged capital deferment, resulting in an aging asset base with an average age exceeding 15 years, which has increased maintenance cost and elevated operational downtime risk. The proposed program includes the replacement, consolidation, and optimization of 16 fleet units, focusing on assets that are in poor to very poor condition and have exceeded their expected life cycle. In addition to addressing asset condition, the program introduces targeted right-sizing of the fleet, replacing selected full-size pickups with mid-size crew cab units where operational requirements allow. This mid-size light-duty strategy is expected to reduce initial capital costs by approximately 20% per unit for the applicable replacements, while improving operational efficiency through increased crew capacity and more efficient utilization of fleet resources. The program incorporates consolidation and a limited cascading, including the reassignment of a viable unit from enforcement services to public works. This strategy supports the removal of operationally surplus and underutilized units and will result in a net reduction of 4.5% of the overall fleet, representing 5 units, including 3 light-duty units and 2 pieces of equipment. The total proposed Phase 1 program cost is $695,940, which is inclusive of the base unit acquisition, applicable taxes, contingency, required specialty upfitting, and associated costs. Funding for the program will be drawn from the Fleet Reserve in accordance with CO 013 Reserve Policy and CO 022 Fleet Management Policy. This concludes my presentation. Thank you for your time and consideration, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Can I have a motion to accept this? Not? Any questions?
Wayne has his hand up, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Nielsen?
I move the council approves an amendment to the 2026 capital budget in the amount of $695,940 for the 2026 Fleet Capital Replacement Phase 1 to be funded from the Fleet Reserve. And I do have a couple of questions, please.
Go ahead, Councillor Nielsen.
Thank you. Through the chair to Chris. Chris, can you talk just in terms of the spreadsheet I'm looking at here in terms of showing the base unit price, upfitting, and additional expenses? Can you tell me what additional expenses are?
Through the chair to the question, the additional expenses will be freight, PDI, certain equipment will have to pay freight, so we've tried to capture all of that with a contingency.
Okay. And the upfitting?
The upfitting, I'll speak to Bylaw services for that. There's certain requirements, lights, the radar, things of that nature that we need to upfit. As far as public works, what we're looking at is box liners, headache racks, things of that nature for the upfitting of the vehicles so that we're prolonging the useful life of those units.
And in terms of any monies garnered from the sale or trade-in value, how is that calculated in here?
Through the chair to the question, excellent question. It is calculated very high level within the capital charter. What you'll notice is quite low of what we've estimated. Any of the proceeds that we do gain from the auction and the sale of the units would be returned back to the Fleet Reserve as per policy.
So in terms of this 695, there's no consideration of return on any items other than it will, whatever is returned to us through trade-in or auction would go back into the reserve.
Through the chair to the question, that would be correct.
Okay. And I guess my last question is, I was approached by a couple of citizens that spoke to why would the city buy crew cabs, 4 doors, when only 1 or 2 people are riding in them? And I heard some comments about initial costs being more expensive, but trade-in costs at the end being better as well. Can you speak to why we're purchasing 4-door vehicles when we may not have full cabs full of people hanging out the windows?
Through the chair to Councillor Nielsen, again, excellent question. What we see, and as we went through our utilization reviews with Public Works and other user groups within the city, we see a surge capacity when we onboard summer staff and seasonal staff. We see a restriction, so we have an ample amount of units during the off-season months. Where we really struggle is getting those crews out to the field. For the incremental cost to going to a crew cab, we're only looking at a few $1,000s, and what happens on the back end when we look to remarket those units, typically a single cab, 2-wheel drive unit is very undesirable on the open market, where we will see that higher residual value within the crew cabs and the 4-wheel drive units.
Great, thank you. And my last question, Chris, is in relation to branding of all these vehicles. Is that inherent? Is that built into this cost, or is that going to be an add-on after the fact?
We did build that portion of that into the cost. There will be some equipment that we do not brand, but that is part of those additional costs that we had outlined within the spreadsheet.
Great, thank you.
I believe Councillor Elder had a question.
No, not at this time.
Councillor Billingsley, did you have a question?
I do.
You were first.
Thank you. Through the chair to administration, I'd sent in last week trying to get a breakdown of the contingency because it's listed with GST, and I know that GST is net. We don't actually pay GST. So is all of that contingency and it's just an error stating GST, or is there something that we actually would not be able to recover GST paid?
Through the chair, to the question, again, very good question. With the spreadsheet, there are a few more fields as we populate. Obviously, we don't want to share the line item cost per unit, as we are going to be going to the market for the replacement of those units. The way that the spreadsheet for the calculations, and I should have actually looked at that, I just captured both of the columns for GST and contingency in one lump sum. So the contingency was based on a 7% and of course the GST for the 5.
But the GST would be, we're net of GST, correct?
We will recoup the GST, but when we go to purchase, we do need that funding.
Yes, so finance will take care of that. So I guess my question then, is contingency 59,000 or is it going to be less than that? Because GST is actually which then will be recoverable. Does that make sense? Like, am I phrasing that?
Yes, you are. I would have to go back through the spreadsheet to repopulate those numbers, if I could take that away as information request.
Well, as information, but it will have no bearing on whether, for me anyway, of approving this. It's just making sure that that number,
But if I may, and you maybe would know better than I would, but I'm sure you would. But when we buy the vehicle, we pay the GST.
Correct.
So it's out of pocket, and then it's recoupable.
Correct.
And then that recouped, that's a crazy word. The money we receive back, there we go, would also go back into the reserve. So it is money out, but to your point, it doesn't necessarily reflect the end real cost.
In other words, it won't be $695.
Correct. It would be less than that because it would be recouping
The GST that
Correct.
is paid, if that is if that GST is in the total calculation.
Correct.
Okay. Which, in the end, it doesn't, it's not a taxation issue, right? It's just, we'll be requisitioning more money that's going to be required. But it'll just end up staying there, if that makes sense. So, thank you. I do have, you kind of touched on additional costs, and you said something to do with PDI and some other things for the $13,900. Is that what those expenses are for 13?
That is correct.
So who's doing the PDI?
That'll be a cost as we go to the market that we will have to pay for any dealership.
Okay.
Councillor Hoya.
Good morning. Thank you, Chris, for your report. I do have a question, and this may be just because I don't know. What is our tender process when we go to purchase new vehicles? And then in the second question, which I'll pose now, and what is the process when we go to sell them as well, as a used unit?
Through the chair to the question, as far as the tendering process, we will rely on a portion of the listed units. We'll utilize our procurement partners with Canoe, which is the RMA, that are already pre-approved procurement partners. As far as the light-duty fleet, we have developed an RFP that will go to open market for the specifications that we require for open bids as part of our procurement policy.
So when you have that process, where does it go? Who has an option? Like, how widespread is that? Is it local? Is it How far does that tender process go for people to?
So we typically, for an RFP solicitation, we will post on Alberta Purchasing Connection. So that will be province-wide, and as part of our trade agreements, it opens it up to pretty much anybody that would like to bid. Typically, when these RFPs go out, we will approach the local vendors to let them know where and how to bid on these projects.
Okay. And then the second question is what is our process again to sell the surplus or used units?
So as we go through and we sell the units, that goes through an auction process. So we set a reserve of typically what we like to see, and then we go to the open market for an auction.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chris, I have a couple questions. One, going to my colleague, Mr. Billingsley, regarding the cost. Now, you had said that some of the costs that we're incurring will be transportation and all of that good stuff. But when we ask for a quote, is that quote not to be delivered to city shop? I understand if we're adding railings or extra outside of, for some vehicles, you know, headache racks and all that, that's an extra cost. But if we're tendering a piece of equipment and we ask for such and such, does that not a fixed rate with no extras coming in? That is, we're going to say, let's say we're going to buy a loader and it comes at $250,000. That is $250,000 for that piece of equipment that we ask for plus GST.
Through the chair to the question, what we've done with what we have today and what I've presented, these are budgetary numbers. Okay. We fully expect that as we go to market for the amount that we're looking for, we're going to see a reduction in the budget and savings as we move forward. Obviously, as we go in and we buy 5 like units, we expect to see, but it's based on the manufacturer's suggested retail price at this point, as without the funding, we can't put the RFP to market and gain those opportunities in those savings.
Thank you. My other couple questions. One, reading through this, you had said medium light truck and a light truck. What's the difference? Medium and light.
Light duty would be classified as our 1500 class pickups. Our medium duty fleet would consist of our 5500 class pickups. It's based on the gross vehicle weight.
And I do support your crew cab. I believe that is the way to go in any construction industry, any industry, because down the road you need more people. You have the room. My last question, in regards to the infrared asphalt machine. It's 2017. I was there when we had demonstration. Now we're getting rid of that, or auctioning it off or selling it. Is it due to not having the people to operate it, or we no longer use it because it's not good quality or doesn't do the work right?
Through all of my engagements with the operational departments, it was deemed surplus at the time. I can take it away as an information request and gain a little bit more information from our Public Works Department.
No, I'm fine what your guys' decision is. Just a question, because that's only like about not even 9 years old. So thank you. Any further questions? Not, I'll have a vote. All of those in favor? Carried. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 10.3, city-owned facility and use policies.
Good day, Mayor and City Council. My name is Annette Frost, Manager of the Recreation Services Department. I'm here today to present the draft policy related to the use of city facilities as directed by the Notice of Motion. A few highlights on this policy are Section 3, which clearly outlines the permitted and prohibited uses as well as the requirements. And what is noteworthy is that city facilities the use of city facilities does not constitute endorsement, support, or approval of that activity by council or administration. And based on this policy, some processes will be and continue to be enhanced to improve that consistency and that clarity. A user agreement is being developed in alignment with this policy and will be applied to episodic rentals or use of city facilities. And I'm happy to answer any questions and take any feedback you may have on the policy.
Councillor Aberley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that Council direct administration to incorporate any of our recommendations into the city facilities use policy and bring back a revised policy to the May 26th regular council meeting for approval. Thank you for the work that you've done with this. As everybody knows, I had brought this forward really because I wanted to ensure that we had clear policy to follow as we move forward. And I do believe that you have provided that, and I have no specific input into what you put forward. I was happy with that. But I do have a question about the user agreement, and that's only, will that be a procedure/process that is developed by administration and separate to this policy? Does that make sense what I'm saying? Yeah.
Through the chair to Councillor Aberley, the user agreement will be managed by administration, and it will just be in alignment with this policy. So they're related, but not necessarily.
Thank you, Zanette. The reason I'm asking the question is this is more for the community to understand what the user agreement would do. So they'd be able to read the policy, and the user agreement is to follow the policy. So can administration change that willy-nilly to do whatever administration wants? Or is it always going to have to be specific to the policy that council has approved? And I'm just trying to get that clarification of its use.
Through the chair to Councillor Aberley, it is going to be, if anything in the user agreement changes, it's going to need to be reflected in the policy, so there would be that give and take of going back and forth potentially.
Perfect. Thank you, Zanette.
Councillor Billingsley.
Thank you. Through the chair, to Zanette, I guess. Under user agreement requirement 3.13, item F, it says require users to obtain and maintain appropriate liability insurance. So should there be something in there that for them to prove it? Like, do we just take the word that they have it? In other words, should there be something in there, and maybe this is to council because we're the ones who would change it. Yeah, I have it. Do you?
So through the chair to Councillor Billingsley, that is something that they would have to provide as part of their agreement, signing off of the user agreement.
But it doesn't say that they have to provide it. And I don't know, and like, I'm just concerned that it says to obtain. So do we just take them at their word, or but there's nothing saying that we
proof.
will verify. Does that make sense?
Mayor Branco, may I?
Yes, I was waiting for an answer.
Through the chair to Councillor, I don't remember your last name, sorry, Billingsley, and council in general, I appreciate what you're saying, and I think that we could make it clear in this that says require users to obtain, maintain, and produce appropriate liability insurance. And that way your concern is there. Your concern is covered, and administration does understand that we want to see that say in the user agreement, rather than us being, and it's not a lack of trust, it's us saying we need this for the security of the city. So I do think that is our role. Thank you, Mayor Bronco.
Thank you. I have a couple hypothetical questions. One, does any of these policies conflict with anything that provincial government may have on us special groups using our facilities? You know, we've had that last where some freedom of groups said that they have the right due to Alberta legislation and all that. So are we in any conflict whatsoever with government rules regarding who we can't and can't lease a facility to?
Through the chair to Mayor Branco, no, this policy is in alignment with the legislation regarding human rights and discrimination, and in terms of reflecting that as a municipality, we are neutral, we are nonpartisan, we're apolitical, whatever word you want to put in there. This is the use of the facility, and as long as it's not breaking any legal or laws and promoting any sort of negative contravention to said laws, we are reflecting that in this policy, that the city administration and council are neutral.
My other question is regarding insurance for the facility or whatever. If it is deemed, let's say, for example, a group has to come up with a piece of document, say that they're insured and everything, and the insurance company, let's say, inspecting, and most times some people do come and investigate the facility, and they find our facility not meeting standards, who does that apply on it? It's an oddball question, but let's say somebody's renting something out, they want to use our facility, they need insurance, and our facility isn't, I would say, follow the rules, or is our insurance, our policies in our city cover all facilities to codes?
Through the mayor, through the chair to the mayor, I'm going to need to defer that to Sue if possible.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, can you repeat that? I was having trouble following the question.
I'm just questioning if we have to have an insurance policy or a piece of paper said they're covered for insurance. What if our facility is not up to snuff for covering these facilities? We need something to be revamped or in order to have these things, because sometimes insurance, I've been where insurance said, hey, this is not in place, we can't do it. And they're assuming to rent the facility with that in place. Who looks after it?
The facility maintenance is expected to be to standards, and if it's not, then our insurance would cover it if something happened.
Thank you. That's the question. Thank you. Councillor Billingsley.
So to go back on my comments about provide, I'm wondering, through the chair to council, I guess, I'd like to make an amendment to 313F to take out the word obtain and change it to provide.
Change it to?
To provide from obtain. Yes. I mean, you had to obtain it to provide it, right?
Mayor Bronco?
Councillor, yes. Go ahead.
Through the chair to council, I agree. I think that, provide, well, no, now that I think of it, I think that you keep the words very specific because it's provide liability insurance. I would want obtain, maintain, and produce. I think that actually keeps us legally safer under a liability under a liability standard, because providing, I would need to understand that explanation of, I think the other one's clear, but I don't care, in the sense of if council would like to make it one word, I will go with the will of council. Thank you.
I'll speak to that. I personally believe if they're applying for an application and the condition says that they have to have that in order to obtain the application granted, they would have to have provide or obtain. It's the same thing. You ain't going to get it. City Hall is not going to pass I'm trying to say the word approval to use that facility without the insurance, without that. So I don't think we're going to apply for a facility, then come back later and give the ticket or the copy of the insurance. I think that's all part of the application process. You don't get it without having the insurance. Councillor Billingsley.
Yeah, so I agree, but it nowhere in the requirement, in the user requirement, that they have to provide it. It says you have to have it. So I guess what I'm trying to say is it's covering us to ensure that we've seen the document, and that's providing. Did you get liability insurance? Yes, I did. Okay, great, box checked. Whereas when somebody has to actually provide it, then you verified it.
Councillor Elder.
I have two comments. I do agree with Councillor Billingsley, and it would be pretty simple to just put require users to obtain, provide, and maintain. So that would solve that issue pretty quickly. But now I have a question to Zanette. So is this new? Like, I just rented 2 weeks ago by Lake Park. I knew nothing about having liability insurance. I just went in, paid the money, and assumed that that's what we have. So is this for every facility if we want to rent it?
Through the chair to Councillor Elder, yes, it will be applied to every city facility should it be rented. So by the Lake Park, the rec hall, and we're actually going to be applying it even to our party rooms at Manluk.
Okay, so this is new, just being
Brand new.
introduced. Okay, fair enough.
So we have a motion on the floor. Point of order.
Yes.
So I think we need to speak to that first. Thank you.
So the motion is to provide a copy of the insurance, correct? To change that, Dean?
To users to obtain, provide, and maintain. There.
Thank you. Councillor Nielsen.
And I think I'm speaking to the amendment. When we, as a city, are asking for liability insurance, I'm assuming it comes in different increments. I can get liability insurance for $1, or I get liability insurance for $500,000. So will you take my $1 liability at the co-op place? Or are you requiring $500,000 worth of liability by the Lake Park? So what is our ask and or expectation related to providing anything? Do we have limits and expectations?
Through the chair to Councillor Nielsen, that is a very good question, and it is something that could be added to the policy in terms of a minimum threshold. And most facilities that I've been involved in terms of renting, it's a minimum of a $2 million liability insurance. Which
So
can be,
you're at-
which can be, like it's a temporary addition to your insurance policy.
So you're asking a family to have a swimming pool party for their 2-year-old kid
To the amendment.
to come up with a 2 million,
That's
with
what
a
I was gonna
2 million, with a $2 million insurance policy?
Through the chair to the mayor, it could be up to $2 million. It doesn't have to be. I'm looking for feedback from council on this.
Mayor Bronco, may I?
Sure.
May we please vote on the produce provide amendment? This is an excellent discussion that I would like to get into as well, but I would just like to make a vote on the first amendment and then look at a second amendment, please.
Okay, can we have a vote on the first one, please, regarding to provide insurance coverage? All of those in favor?
No, I just want to make
Opposed?
sure they've captured it.
Oh, okay. I can't see that here. Can somebody read it to me once it's up?
I can do so. So under 313F, to be deleted and replaced with, requires users to provide appropriate liability insurance as determined by the city prior to the use of the city facility.
All of those in favor?
No.
Oh, just one second there, Joe, please.
Thought you were leaving the word obtain in there.
I wonder if we can change provide to provide, or obtain would be first, because that would be the first thing you would do.
Mayor Bronco, may I?
Yes, go ahead,
I'm
Karen, please.
just wordsmithing in my brain. I don't think the word provide is it really is produce. We are asking them to obtain, in normal language, we want you to get it and show it to us. Correct. So for me, that is obtain it and produce it. And maintain it. Make sure that it's still happening. So that's why I liked the 3 words and why I was struggling with the word provide, because in my brain that just means, yeah, I'm providing insurance is the same as obtaining it. But what you were actually saying that I agreed with was that I want to see it. So that's produce it for us. So I think the word provide is wrong.
And I'm more than okay with that, friendly.
So I would make the recommendation that it reads, require users to obtain, maintain, and produce.
So instead of provide, produce. Okay.
And then get rid of the word provide. Thank you.
Beautiful. Would you like me to read that?
Please, Dean.
313F, to be deleted and replaced with require users to obtain, maintain, and produce appropriate liability insurance as determined by the city prior to use of a city facility.
I am really struggling with this for the simple reason we're passing something we don't know the cost of each facility. Also, would you consider a parade being the road part of a road facility that is part of an infrastructure caused by the city? And
This is just an amendment to this. That's another discussion that can be had. This discussion is amendment to this particular item F.
Okay, I guess we'll vote on the motion. Oh, Councillor Nielsen, I'm sorry.
Thank you. I'm not I'm not opposed to what's been suggested as an amendment. But within this, it talks about appropriate liability. And I need I need to understand what that means.
May I?
Councillor Billingsley.
Yeah, and I think that that's then going to speak to what the mayor's speaking about, and what you're speaking about could be the next conversation. Because I'm not disagreeing with either one of you on that, and including Councillor Elder as well, but that doesn't take away the asking for someone to produce the document as well, whatever that document would be, a different potential change.
So through the chair to legislation, could I amend an amendment at the same
Can you
time?
first vote on that one?
No, I'm seeking clarification right now.
The options, it could be a friendly amendment. It may be cleaner to deal with this amendment and then put forward a second amending motion.
Well, I'm going to test my friendly amendment. I'd like to see us take appropriate out of F and describe it as a set statement somewhere else in the document. So people are required to obtain, maintain, produce, provide, give evidence to liability insurance. And now we'll talk about the appropriateness outside of that. What is appropriate for each facility? Do I have a friend in that amendment?
Yes.
No, I need his.
Oh.
Councillor Billingsley.
Thank you. I don't know if we need to take out appropriate, because if you're talking about having different liability, if going forward in discussion, if we talk about the drill hall versus by the lake park or whatever, is there going to be different levels of appropriate liability insurance?
So what you're saying to me is you're not accepting my friendly amendment?
I'm not.
Thank you.
So, to the motion, can it be repeated again?
Sure. 313F, to be deleted and replaced with require users to obtain, maintain, and produce appropriate liability insurance as determined by the city prior to use of a city facility.
Thank you. All of those in favor to the motion? Oppose? Carried. Councillor Nielsen.
Thank you. So while we talk about appropriate liability, where and how do we capture that in this document? Because I'm assuming that every facility would have a varying rate of liability attached to it. And again, I'm not an insurance person. So are we talking about personal liability? Are we talking about property liability? Are we talking about what liability are we speaking of? Just that if they wreck the place, they'll pay for it? Or I guess I'm confused as to what it is exactly we're asking for and in what amounts for each of our respective facilities. Yeah, that's my question.
Thank you, Councillor Hoyle. Waiting for an answer.
I'd like a response to my question, please, Mr. Mayor.
That's what I'm asking, a response to your question.
Thank you.
Through the chair to Councillor Nielsen, we would need to consult with an insurance company to confirm that, what those amounts or that ratio would need to be depending on the nature of the event. So I would need to take that back and come back with a recommendation as to whether it's a sliding scale, whether it's a table format that these events require, should have this level of insurance coverage, and here are some of the criteria. Because if it's an event that has alcohol, that might impact what the liability insurance needs to be versus a children's birthday party.
And if I may, Mr. Mayor, through the chair,
Please.
To Zanette, are you aware of any circumstances in the past where we, the city, have had to exercise an option through an insurance company to make a claim?
Through the chair to Councillor Nielsen, not during my time, so I would defer to Sue if she has had anything prior to my time.
Through the chair to Councillor Nielsen, almost every slip, trip, fall, we get named in a lawsuit. So whether or not we're found guilty is a whole different discussion, and I'd have to go back to our legal team to see where we were found guilty in or liable.
I guess what I'm leading up to is I don't know, as Councillor Elder spoke, to his personal experience, and the number of times I've rented a facility and never had to present insurance. And if we're going to be named whether there's insurance or not, what are we trying to accomplish by requiring the insurance in the first place? So whether the person pays $1 gazillion for $1 million worth of liability and somebody slips at Co-op Place and fractures their ankle, we will be named regardless of whether they had insurance or not.
Right, but the difference is, so I'll use a sidewalk in front of your house as an example. You are required to maintain the sidewalk in front of your house even though it's on city property, and your insurance covers it if somebody, so we get named and we get brought through the process, but we quite often get dropped off early in the process because of the fact that the homeowner has insurance. So if we're renting out by Lake Park and we ask someone to get insurance, which is a lot easier now than it used to be. It's like getting a liquor license on your way. You can do it online on your way up the stairs. By having the renter have insurance, it just means we drop off quicker and we're not ultimately liable. It's typically, unless there's something faulty with the building itself or how we maintained it, it would then fall back onto the user's insurance.
Thank you. And I guess I understand that. I'm finding sort of a juxtaposition here in the context that we have taxed administration to try and increase rental revenues on our facility use. And in doing so, then we're adding
a roadblock.
Yeah, I'll use Mark's words, roadblocks or encumbrances to do so. And even to the mayor's comment about renting the party space at Manluk Aquatic. And I'm going to bring a whole bunch of children to a birthday party, and I'm going to use that space, the playroom. So I would take out insurance for the playroom. Am I also then, because I've created a party at the Manluk, do I also have to take out insurance to actually use the swimming pool portion? And if not, why not?
There is an opportunity for what we call a self-insurance. So I know Zanette has already committed to take this away and look into some of this insurance stuff. So I suggest we just bring it back to council at a future meeting, not the next meeting, as noted in the motion. And then we can look into our own insurance, what it costs to self-insure, and maybe that we just include like a $5 cost within the fee, the rental fee, to cover the insurance. So I'm just suggesting maybe we take some of that stuff away, further investigate it, and then bring this back to council for approval at a later date.
I would be happy with that. I just think I don't want to make a decision that, while it's well-intentioned at the front end, ends up being a detriment at the back end. So I'd be happy to get more information for sure.
I have a question, if I may, and I agree with that, Sue, but could we get possibility a definition of cities' assets? Structural, is a road part of our, let's say somebody wants to rent a parade or block out, do we need insurance for that? People rent in Jubilee Park for special events and everything. And if it rains and they have their equipment and they damage all the grass or landscaping, is that part of our infrastructure that needs coverage? So I agree what's happening, but there is such a vague opening that it's hard to define what is city property and what we need to have coverage. And all in that, then Karen Aberline, please.
Thank you, Mayor Bronco. Through the chair to administration, how much time would you need to do this? And I would like you to, how much time would you like, not need, how much time would you like to have to be able to bring back ideas about insurance and different options to this question? Because, yep, having read through it, I didn't think of any of this, so I thank my colleagues for really bringing it up.
Through the chair to Councillor Aberley, at least 6 weeks. So that would put us to approximately the end of June, so maybe perhaps the last meeting in June.
So I would like to make an amendment to my motion, please. And I'm just going to remember what my motion was. And if anybody that has a calendar open, because of course I don't have my phone on me. June. I would like to make an amendment to policy, a revised policy back to the June 23rd, 2026 regular council meeting.
Joe Jacqueline has a question.
Yes. Go ahead, please.
To council, the original motion that's on the floor does direct administration to bring this back to May 26th. This motion was made by Councillor Billingsley, so an alternative, instead of making an amending motion, would be a friendly amendment to the motion on the table.
So be it. I said
All of those?
Thank you.
All of those in favor? Yep. Councillor Nielsen. Councillor Nielsen.
Yes, thank you. I'm trying to put some thoughts together in my head that might even sound intelligent. No, I'll stand down. Thank you.
Voting on the front.
No, just
Karen Aberline.
Through the chair to administration, or to administration. I did make the original motion, and Councillor Billingsley made an amendment. It can be a friendly motion and we can make the original motion Councillor Billingsley. I'm not concerned about that, but for the record, I did make the original motion. Thank you.
Councillor Billing, would you like to change the motion or till June the 23rd, 26th?
Billingsley, and I believe that Councillor... Yeah. So we have, Councillor Aberley has the motion on the floor to change it to the 22nd. Lost the date. 23rd.
23rd. Motion to Councillor Aberley to change the date back to council for information or voting on June the 23rd, 2026. All of those in favor? Yeah. Oh, Councillor Nielsen.
Through the chair to administration. We have a policy that an awful lot of work has gone into it. We're down to one item to be discussed, and I'd like to understand, if I may, without any judgment attached to this, why this would take 6 weeks to get this information back to us. This was put forward by Councillor Aberley for very good reasons. I suspect we will have requests for rental throughout the summer months, and to not have a policy in place, I think, is remiss on our part. And if this is important, then I would like to understand why we would need 6 weeks to get an insurance company to give us some information about what they would recommend we put into a policy. So I guess my question is, help me understand a 6-week window to hear from an insurance company.
Zanette, I got this. Through the chair to Councillor Nielsen, it has mostly to do with our process. We could bring it back at the first June meeting. We just can't bring it back to the end of the May because that gets published to council this Thursday. So if we could do it for the first June meeting, that would be the soonest we would be able to, just from our timing internally.
Thank you. So unless there's a change to the amendment, I will not support the motion. I don't know.
Councillor Hoyle, do you have a question?
So, Mr. Mayor, if I may, I would like to make a friendly amendment to the motion that it come back on the first June meeting.
9th.
Sorry?
June 9th.
June 9th meeting.
Thank you. Does that mean Councillor Aberley has to remove her motion, friendly motion?
She has to accept.
No, sir, I would accept the friendly amendment.
Thank you. So we're voting on a friendly amendment for information on June the 9th, 2026, to come back to council. Am I correct? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, for June.
Mr. Mayor, would you like me to read the motion?
Yes, please.
I know it's hard. That council direct administration to incorporate council's recommendations into the city facilities use policy and bring the revised policy back to the June 9, 2026 regular council meeting for approval.
Thank you. All of those in favor? Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We move on now to bylaw. Item 12, 2.1. Thank you, Emily.
Good morning, Council. This item is to bring several administration-led amendments to the land use bylaw for second and third readings following this morning's public hearing. Through regular review of city policy, applicable legislation, and community feedback, alongside day-to-day use of the land use bylaw in development approvals, inquiries, and enforcement, administration identifies areas where minor updates would be appropriate and presents them to Council from time to time. Today, administration is proposing amendments in 3 areas. Item 1 is simply to update our reference to appeal timelines in the land use bylaw from 14 days to 21 to match the Municipal Government Act and avoid any possible confusion. Item 2 is a proposal to allow moved on or relocated buildings more widely in the city. Moved on buildings are distinct from manufactured or mobile homes, which are constructed as a unit and designed to be movable. They're also distinct from modular homes, which are constructed in parts in a factory and assembled on a permanent foundation on site. Moved on buildings are previously site-built homes that are moved from their previous foundation to a new foundation on a new site. Currently, the land use bylaw generally prohibits this. This has been in the bylaw since 1980, but from our review, it appears to be aimed at ensuring the safety of the structure rather than addressing land use impacts that are within the scope of this bylaw. Planning and Development has received several inquiries in the past few months regarding relocating pre-existing detached homes into the city, which is a fairly common practice addressed in other land use bylaws in the province. Providing more options for the provision of housing in our community is consistent with municipal development plan policies in sections 3.1 and 8.1 to promote diverse housing options and ensure compatibility with neighborhood character. We've consulted with our building safety codes officer to confirm that any concerns regarding the structural integrity or code compliance of a moved-on building would be addressed through a building permit for the foundation or through a structural inspection of the building. Therefore, administration is proposing to remove the complete prohibition of moved-on or relocated buildings and amend this section to add provisions aimed at ensuring compliance with other land use bylaw provisions, compatibility with the destination neighborhood, and confirmation of structural integrity. Notably, for any use that would be a permitted use if it were built on site, such as a single detached home in a low-density residential area or a retail store in a commercial district, these requirements are more stringent than for an identical site-built building. Finally, item 3 is to clarify development security provisions. At the March 10th, 2026 regular council meeting, council approved updates to CO-026 Safety Codes fee policy that removed references to grading and construction damage securities. These are partially addressed in sections 7.22 and 7.23 of the land use bylaw. The proposed amendments in this area are meant to update and consolidate the security provisions of this policy into the land use bylaw, allowing one point of reference. Additionally, the land use bylaw governs development permits, which is the stage at which securities are generally addressed. Overall, administration is seeking to have different options for security formats and to minimize any confusion that might be related to transferring a single security between contractors on a project. The overall amending bylaw text is provided in Attachment 1, a red line of proposed amendments in Attachment 2, and a table detailing the rationale for each of the substantive amendments in Attachment 3. And so with that summary, I would be happy to take any questions that you might have.
I get a motion, please? Councillor Aberley.
Thank you, sir. I move that council give second reading to bylaw 2106-26 as presented.
Any questions? Councillor Nielsen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through the chair to legislation, I guess. So I'm having trouble deciding how I process the motion in the context that I have no concerns about most of what's being presented, but I do have concerns about a particular item. And so are we passing the whole thing at once, or are we going to be identifying and voting on the 3 significant changes in the document individually?
Through the chair to Councillor Nielsen, council has a draft bylaw before them, which, to my knowledge, encompasses all the items that administration did cover. So currently, second reading is before council, and then third reading is also proposed today. So it would encompass all items.
Thank you. May I proceed, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, please.
So my concern is in relation to moved-on buildings. And while I understand we have had some individuals requesting to have this done, moved on buildings into our community, I'm wondering if we're actually de-incentivizing new home building or new home purchasing. So if I'm a new resident to Wetaskiwin and I come into this particular community and I see a new home that I really like and I see empty lots all around me, and I recognize that the moment I buy this beautiful piece of property I've got my eye on, that's brand new, fresh out of the bag, the next day I could have moved on buildings that will vary in age, structure, and I'll use the word form and character as well. And then it makes me wonder, okay, maybe I'd just better move into an area where I don't like the house as much, but all the homes around me are similar in form and character. So I worry that this may de-incentivizing new home purchasing. But I know it also rests largely on somebody deciding and interpreting terminology called form and character. So with that in mind, I would ask for an understanding of what form and character really means in this policy, and who is the decider of form and character.
Through the chair to Councillor Nielsen, form and character is, acknowledged to be a little bit qualitative. Generally, it refers to the overall elements of a building. So the shape, the size, potentially the roof line, placement of windows and doors, where the garage is it front attached, is it rear detached, setbacks from the street, and so forth. In terms of the decision maker on it, because this is being proposed as a discretionary use, the development authority would make the initial approval or denial decision. If it's approved, then there would be notification to residents within 76 meters who would have a right of appeal. And then the appeal would be heard by the Subdivision and Development Appeal Board, which has both council and community representation.
Thank you. Does age of a building come into play when you're talking about form and character?
Through the chair to Councillor Nielsen, not specifically, though we do acknowledge that buildings built at different times sometimes have different character elements.
So if I'm in a new residential area and it's completely developed, with the exception of maybe 2 lots out of 40, hypothetically, and all of a sudden a decision is made to allow 2 buildings 40 years old who have some semblance of form and character dropped into my community next to my property. Then that would go before the development authority if there was an appeal.
Through the chair to Councillor Nielsen, the initial decision would be made by the development authority, and then following notification to property owners, there would be the possibility of an appeal to Subdivision and Development Appeal Board.
Okay, thank you. And if I may go to, under repeal part 7, section 7.21, number 4, it reads, the development authority may require any or all of the following conditions of the development permit, and inspection, renovations, and development security. I guess I'm curious as why the language is may as opposed to must, which number 3 talks about shall include. And then we go to number 4, which may include.
Through the chair to Councillor Nielsen, would you mind repeating the section
Sure.
reference? I'm flipping pages. I apologize.
Well, I can't give you a page number, I'm sorry. I've got number, it's on my document that I've got here, which goes back.
Page 4 or 5.
Is it page 4 or 5?
Yeah.
Repeal Part 7, Section 7.21. So it'd be 7.4. The Development Authority may require, are we on the same place?
Yes.
Okay. So in the preceding statement, number 3, it says, these things shall happen, and then under 4 it says, may happen. And the very first one is an inspection providing a written certification of the building's structural condition following building placement. And I'm curious as to why any of those would be may be required versus shall be required.
Through the chair to Councillor Nielsen, just looking at the previous paragraph for the things that are listed as shall, one of those things is a statement of the age, size, and structural condition. And so in some cases, our thought is that that information may be sufficient. And then if it turns out not to be, we would have the option to request additional information regarding an inspection or renovations. With respect to the third item for development security, sometimes it depends on the placement of the building, if there are going to be, if there will be a lot of landscaping or new curb cuts for a driveway or so on and so forth. In some cases, we might require security to make sure those are done as well, but not all.
I guess what concerns me there a little bit is that somebody brings on a moved-on building and is required to do number 3, and then someone makes a decision they have to do all of number 4 as well. And yet another property pops up, moved-on building, and they're only required to do number 3, they're not required to do number 4. And I worry that it sets the Development Authority up with different expectations for moved-on buildings. So is now the time to make an amendment then? Is that what we're trying to do here today?
Through the chair to Councillor Nielsen, amendments can be made anytime after first reading but before third reading. So should council choose, they may amend the bylaw.
Thank you. I'm not sure I'm going to support it as it sits now, or even after I maybe make an amendment, but I would like to make an amendment to number 4 and change the wording to the Development Authority shall require the following conditions of the development permit. All of the following as conditions of the development permit. Everybody moving a property into the city from elsewhere all have to meet the same requirements regardless of age, form and character. Obviously, I'm stuck on that one. And someone's wet finger in the wind judgment that this one I don't need to ask for that information. I think that sets us up for problems down the road. I'll see if I have any friends in the room.
Councillor Abilene, you had your hand up. Any questions?
Thank you, sir. It wasn't necessarily to the amendment, but I'll bring it up. Through the chair to administration, the conversation has got me thinking about when we did the municipal development plan a year ago, and because Emily, you worked on it really hard, and you would probably be able to still quote it to me. Did we not have conversations about form and structure and neighborhood characteristics? Is that not in our MDP?
Through the chair to Councillor Aberley, I don't have the municipal development plan in front of me. Generally, I recall those conversations and the resulting policies talking about kind of general neighborhood compatibility without the requirement for things to be identical, recognizing that sometimes neighborhoods can change over time, and some of the neighborhoods in Wetaskiwin are quite eclectic in terms of their development as it is.
And how would, and it's not, I love the idea of character neighborhoods, and then I also appreciate the desire for uniform neighborhoods. And so I appreciate what Councillor Nielsen is bringing forth. And so that's where I was just trying to think back up that level, as if we had spoken to this and specific neighborhoods put into the MDP, no?
Through the chair to Councillor Aberley, not specific neighborhoods, because we did have a policy area for existing neighborhood and then a policy area for future neighborhood. Okay. I will note that one of the things we would consider in a character discussion, though, is kind of the level of mix of different types of housing already in a neighborhood.
Okay. Thank you.
So through the friendly, a motion by Councilor Nielsen. Can I have that read out, please?
To the chair, I can read out what we have on screen. We've also added this into the Teams chat. That council amend the draft bylaw as follows. So under section 7 of the amending bylaw, only section 4 would be amended, and it would be amended to read, the development authority shall require any or all of the following as conditions of the development permit.
Thank you.
No, and that would be my apology if that's what was captured. I believe my intention was to state the development authority shall require the following conditions, which is all of them. It's not optional for an individual to say, I'm not going to call for any of these conditions, or I'm going to call for some of these conditions. The expectation is every applicant wanting to move a property onto the city and onto moved on buildings will all be put through the same evaluation process.
Councillor Aberley.
Thank you, Mayor Bronco, through the chair to administration. Am I correct that these are similar requirements if you were to do a new build? There would need to be inspected to make sure that it's meeting safety codes so are they different than a new build, I guess is what I'm trying to ask.
Through the chair to Councillor Aberley, some of them are, if you were to do a new build, in many cases, if it's a permitted use, there's not that requirement to kind of be compatible in form and character other than meeting the land use bylaw. The submission requirements regarding the structural safety of the building would be directly related to a building permit for the whole structure rather than a building permit for the foundation and a separate assessment of the condition of the structure that's sitting on top.
Thank you, Emily. And I want to make sure that I'm understanding, because when I read these three things, to me, that is very similar to a new build. We would, like, if you were to do any kind of construction or renovation, or you would need a permit, and these would be conditions of that permit to make sure that you passed it. Or is it a extra step?
Through the chair to Councillor Aberley, I would say they're just ever so slightly different, because under a new build, you would take out a building permit for the entire structure. and anything related to inspections, structural requirements, and so forth would be covered under that permit and then inspected at the completion of construction. In a case like this, the safety code's permit requirement is for the foundation, and there's not a permit requirement for the structure above, and so hence the proposed requirements here for an assessment of the structure that's sitting on top. It's not a formal building permit the same way.
Okay, thank you.
So can I read that motion read out loud again, please, so we can vote on it?
Number 4 would be amended to read, the development authority shall require the following conditions of the development permit. And it goes on A, B, and C.
Thank you. To the amendment. All of those in favor?
Yes.
Carried. Thank you. Now I believe we are in the
No,
voting.
I've got, Mr. Mayor, I have another question. If
Okay.
I may, please.
Please, go ahead.
Through the chair to Emily. I want to make sure that I am understanding of the process, because dealing with moved-on buildings falls under the Development Authority, correct? The Development Authority is whom?
The development officers in our department.
Okay, development officers. So they would ensure that all these things are looked after, including making a determination, and again, I don't mean to belabor this or be smart with this, form and character in the neighborhood.
That's right.
Okay. Once the Development Authority has made its decision and it's decided that building X, Y, or Z is an approved structure to put onto a lot, then the next step in the process is the Development Authority then sends out letters to neighbors within X number of meters of that property to inform them of that.
That's right.
If there is an appeal by any of the neighbors, it then goes to whom for a judgment?
Through the chair to Councillor Nielsen, the appeal, which is outlined in the notice that neighbors would receive, is submitted to the clerk of the Subdivision and Development Appeal Board, which is separate from the Planning and Development Department, and then the Subdivision and Development Appeal Board hears the appeal. And so at that appeal, the Development Authority presents its rationale, the person who's appealing presents, their concerns and their rationale, and then the board can ask questions and make a determination.
Right, and the Subdivision Appeal Board has 2 members of council on it, I believe?
Through the chair to Councillor Nielsen, it's just one
Just
with
one.
a backup.
Oh,
as a
and with
member.
an alternate, okay,
Yeah.
thank you. And is there any appeal to the Subdivision Appeal Board's final decision?
Through the chair to Councillor Nielsen, generally not on the substance of it. If there's a question of law or jurisdiction, there is an appeal route, but that's fairly limited in circumstance.
So once the Development Authority has given approval, council has divested itself of, the city has divested itself of any involvement in the process then?
Through the chair to Councillor Nielsen, council does not have further involvement directly, no.
Thank you.
Councillor Billingsley.
Do we have an amendment on the floor?
No, I do not.
Okay, good. Through the chair to administration, we had someone come to speak to this bylaw. And I'm just curious about, she talked about that there was 10 or 15 infill lots and bringing in manufactured homes. I want to make sure I get the term correct. Manufactured homes. Is there anything, and I didn't see it before and I didn't really think about it. She talked about infills as opposed to new lots that are for sale. And I think what Audrey was trying to speak of is trying to be able to put manufactured homes onto the infills. But as Councillor Nielsen kind of talked about, that scares me a little bit is some of the new subdivisions. Is there anything in here to protect the new subdivisions as opposed to the infills, if that makes sense?
Through the chair to Councillor Billingsley, specifically with respect to manufactured homes, those are allowed in many fewer districts than kind of housing more generally. We have a manufactured home district, which is essentially the only place that a true manufactured home currently could be placed. My understanding of that public hearing presentation was almost differentiating between manufactured and modular versus a moved-on building.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and that would then be addressed when you talk about like
Form and character?
Form and character.
Through the chair to Councillor Billingsley, that's correct. Yeah, we have separate land use bylaw provisions regarding manufactured homes, which are allowed in very certain districts, and then modular homes have their own set of what we call specific use provisions that they have to meet.
Thank you.
Okay, can we have a voting on the second reading, please? Karen, can you say it again, please?
Absolutely, sir. I move that council give second reading to bylaw 2106-26 as presented. No, as amended. We did an amendment. As amended.
Thank you. All of those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Okay. And I move that council give third reading to bylaw 2106-26 as presented.
All of those in favor? Carried. Do we need a third reading?
That was the third reading, sir.
Okay, I always thought we did one more, but okay, thank you very much. And we will move to correspondence. Then we'll have a break.
To the chair, that was approved on consent agenda.
Thank you. I moved that we go into closed session. All of those in favor?
To the mayor, the closed session content on the agenda is there as a placeholder. There is no item added under closed session. So we are now on
Okay.
new business 15-1.
Okay, let me get my piece of paper. Thank you. Could we have a 10-minute break, please?
Agreed.
A few?
You ready to go?
Mr. Mayor, we're live. Mr. Mayor, we are live.
Okay, so I believe we're going into 14.1, closed session, correct?
We are now
Micro-
on new business.
Oh, you're going to new business first, then go to closed business? Okay. Item 15, new business, garage, 15. I think it was you, Dean?
No, that was me, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Wayne.
Thank you. I have a motion here, and I think legislation's got it. I move that council directs administration to provide an update on or before the next council meeting on the status of enclosure of garbage bins on Main Street behind Starbucks and other associated businesses in that strip. And I'd like to speak to that if I could.
Please go ahead.
Thank you. Back in September, when I was out campaigning and putting signs up, I noticed a large number of garbage bins, including a big grease pot, oil pot, whatever it's called, storage container from behind the restaurants there. And I brought it up as an issue related to, first off, general appearance, and then what are the standards in our community. And I was informed that they'd be looking into it, and to my knowledge, they did. And then it got to a point where, with ground freezing, it was not an appropriate time to actually ensure that the fencing materials to enclose those containers would be done during the winter months. So now that the ground is ready for post holes and so forth, I'm just looking for an update on what is happening with that, and I'd like to see that one closed as soon as possible. I think it's an eyesore coming into our main entrance down Main Street. So I'm just looking for administrative report at the next council meeting. On or before the next council meeting.
Anything from administration?
Nothing from administration this time, so I would see the report sometime between now and the next reporting period.
I'm just trying to figure out a date when you would like to have that motion presented to council, Wayne?
What I've said is on and before the next council meeting, so it could come out as an information item
Okay.
from administration, or barring that, it would be a report presented at the next council meeting.
So May the 26th, no later than May the 26th.
That is correct.
Thank you. Any discussion? If not, I'll have a vote on that. All of those in favor? Carried, thank you. Now we move on to in camera, correct?
No.
Point of order,
There's
no,
no-
we had 15.2.
Sorry, I don't see 15.2 on mine, so Dean, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No, that's okay, thank
Okay.
you. It had to do with the, an actual final report for the spray park, and I do have a motion that will be provided, thank you. So I move that City Council directs administration to bring back a final report on all costing, timelines, and lessons learned to come back, hang on, it doesn't say what this is about. Directs administration to bring back final report, final spray park report on all costings, timelines, and lessons learned to come back by the end of Q3.
Thank you, Dean. Any questions? I do have one. Dean, the report you're asking, or sorry, Councillor Billingsley, the report you're asking, is that information on expenses on the spray park committee or just the city of Wetaskiwin expenses?
It's the city of Wetaskiwin. I have, we were provided from the committee their financial information. I'm not concerned about that. What I am concerned about as a councillor is ensuring the city's involvement financially.
Also, I believe to your question, the water tower is supposed to be painted. Wonder if that's going to be available. It's because it's brown, not white. And we were told that it was going to be changed to white. So maybe we can get a report on that. Yes.
Thank you,
I
Mr.
see
Mayor. Through the chair to council, the spray park committee has, they were not pleased with the water tower, how it showed up. And I believe that they were either looking at getting it replaced or painted before we release all the holdbacks on the project. So that'll be done.
Question to you, to administration. That spray park, since we are taking over that when the city gets handed over, is all that work a 2-year warranty or 1-year warranty? Because all of City of Wetaskiwin's construction builds are 2-year, infrastructure is a 2-year warranty. Is that spray park a 1-year warranty?
Through the chair to council, I believe the contract was for 1 year. We did not enter into the contracts. This was done with the community group, but we were reviewing, I think for the most part, all of the documents to make sure there were no major issues. Typically, road projects I think are a little bit different than playground and spray parks. So I know you're used to 2 years in your work as well.
Thank you. Further to my colleague, Councillor Billingsley, when we find out the information of the spray park to the city, will there be some information on an estimated cost for maintenance of that spray park ongoing? Like, I know we have to blow out the water in the winter or the air. Yeah, I'm sorry, the water for winter purpose and stuff. So will that be part of our information?
I wasn't specifically looking for that. That would be more of an administration as far as maintenance on all city facilities. I'm looking specifically on how this arrangement worked, working with a community group. I'm trying to find out exactly how much we actually spent, what we learned, what worked, what didn't work, what we could do better if something came forward with another project similar to this. As far as the maintenance and all that, that to me is not, that's not really what I was looking for, other than I'm not saying that what you're asking for is bad information, but that's not what I'm looking for in this report.
Thank you. Go ahead, Sue.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to clarify, administration did bring forward operational costs before council approved the project because we thought it was only fair that you had all the information before you actually allowed this to happen. And then we did update in the 2026 budget did include the increased operational costs that we had originally presented. We said we were going to monitor it for a year and then make any adjustments that might be required. So that'll be part of the 2027 budget process if needed.
Thank you very much for that. Okay, all of those in favor? Any further questions? Now it's your last chance. Any further questions? All of those in favor? Carried. Thank you. 14.1. Can we go into closed camera session now?
Mr. Mayor, there is no closed session.
Oh, I thought there was. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to that. Okay. Then I move to adjourn council meeting for May the 12th. I believe we're going to go break for lunch, then go into P&T.
Correct.
So how about 1 o'clock? Is that good enough for you? Or Councillor Hoy?
Quarter after 12. Quarter after 12.
Oh, yes. Well, I got